Welcome to Upfront on the Voice of America. My name is Jackson Vunganyi. We're coming to you from the Voice of America studios here in Washington, D.C. A leading opposition figure in Tanzania is accusing the government of President Magufuli and his ruling party, CCM, or Chama cha Mapinduzi. They're accusing the president and his party for using underhanded methods of repression against opposition parties. Mr. Zitto Kabwe is the head of Alliance for Change and Transparency, ACT Wazalendo. He says that some of the methods include harassment, arrests, and detention of prominent political figures. Earlier this year, the country's parliament passed a law that gave powers to a government-appointed registrar of political parties. That registrar has powers to deregister parties and to punish people that he finds guilty of engaging in what it calls unauthorized civic education. And such activities include, but are not limited to, holding meetings, voter registration drives, etc. And Mr. Zitto's party recently received notice demanding for audited reports, a move that Mr. Zitto says is a pretext to go after his political party, especially after a high-level defection of veteran politician Maalim Seif Harim Hamad from his former party, the Civic United Front, CUF, to join Mr. Zitto's Alliance for Change and Transparency. Mr. Zitto joins me on the phone from Dar es Salaam to talk about this situation.
What is happening is that 2 days ago, the government issued a notice on the intention to cancel registration of our party and gave two reasons. One is related to audit and the other one is related to the actions of the so-called members of the party in various parts of the country who banned the flags of another political party. And both reasons, both grounds are very, very flimsy. Because one, the audit issue was settled 3 years ago. And the second one on the banning of the flags of other parties. First of all, the law is very clear that if there is that banning, it has to be the people, the members who were involved are supposed to be punished and not the party that is supposed to be punished.
Okay. So given that the issue of audit, which I believe this is probably the bigger issue here, you're saying that it was settled 3 years ago. Why now? What prompted this move by...
That's the most important question. Why now? Why now? It is because a week ago, our party received the biggest boost ever because the leading politicians in the other side of the United Republic of Tanzania, the place called Zanzibar, joined our party en masse. And in a week, the party registered 125,000 members. So the state is worried. The state is shaking, and they are trying to threaten us in order to ensure that we do not build the momentum of the new members that we got from Zanzibar and some other parts of the United Republic of Tanzania.
Okay, so this is the ruling party seeing you gaining a lot of membership, a lot of traction with this new member. I believe that name is Saif Sharif Ahmad, who just joined.
Sharif Ahmad,
a very influential.
Winning every single election in the Zanzibar archipelago, and every single election has been stolen, and the last election was cancelled.
So you believe that this is what prompted the government of Magufuli, President Magufuli, to come after your party?
I believe so, but also should not be seen in isolation. For the last 3 years, there has been a shrinking civic space and political space in the country. The political parties were banned to conduct their political activities. The leaders of the opposition, members of parliament, have been in jail. Myself, I've been arrested more than 4 times. And just recently, 2 members of parliament, one of them the leader of the opposition in parliament, spent more than 100 days in jail. So there has been this kind of suppression and oppression and shrinking political space in the country. So it has to be seen not in isolation,
Right.
but in unison.
Right, to see a full picture of what is happening in Tanzania, where
Yes.
analysts are saying that there's been a campaign of repression against opposition parties like yours.
Yes.
Do you know of any political parties that are being currently audited by this body?
No, all political parties are audited by the Auditor General every year. And so the issue of audit hasn't been an issue at all. It is not even an issue now. They just decided to use it in order to serve their purpose of threatening us. So all other political parties are being audited, and maybe end of this week, the Auditor General will issue his report on the audit, not only of the political parties, but also of other government agencies.
Okay, so since you're sure that you will pass the audit, then that won't be a problem.
The audit has been done. It was done 3 years ago, and we passed. We received a clean audit report.
And
so there is no issue at all in the audit.
Okay.
Not at all.
And so this has been communicated with the relevant authorities.
And it was because it's a national audit office that audits the party.
Now,
and we communicated with the Office of Registrar of Political Parties and sent to him all the auditor reports. So there is no issue, but they're trying to find a way of deregistering the party because of the overwhelming support the party has received in the last few weeks.
Okay, and in essence, criminalize legitimate political activities. Let me ask you this, Mr. Zitto. At this rate, do you believe that the ruling party, the Chama cha Mapinduzi of President Magufuli, will have a formidable opponent in next year's general election?
The strategy, and President Magufuli said this in public 3 years ago, he said that he'll make sure by 2020 there will be no opposition in the country. So this is their strategy, but I am sure that Tanzanians will not succumb to that. Although we have been facing very, very challenging political situation in the country, we have been arrested. Some of our colleagues have been shot. One of our colleagues, Tundu Lissu, is in hospital up to now since September 2017. We have been jailed. We have been harassed. But we have existed because we believe the opposition is not about the parties. The opposition is about the people themselves. The people are tired of the CCM rulership for a very long time. Since independence, Tanzanians haven't seen any other party in government. So we are sure that whatever the case will be, there will be huge opposition in the country during the next election.
What is the status of other political parties like Chadema?
Chadema is still strong. They have been facing some defections, but and also the leaders being in jail for more than 100 days, as I said before. But they are still strong, and actually we are having discussions. Today we had consultations with top leaders of Chadema in order to see how we are going to respond to the current political situation in the country.
How do you think this is going to end, Mr. Zitto?
My biggest worry is the stability of the country, especially in Zanzibar, because now we are the biggest party in Zanzibar in terms of membership, and we are the leading opposition in Zanzibar. In some parts of Zanzibar, we have a clear majority. And if people will be denied the right to have their party and vote for it, definitely they might resort to other means of achieving their rights. And it's my biggest worry. And that's why I have warned the government that they are playing with fire. They are threatening the national security of the country. They are threatening the stability of this country. And this is my biggest worry. And I've been communicating with the regional bodies, the East African Community, the Southern African Development Community, the African Union, and the international community.
Are you able to hold any political activities? Are you able to mobilize your members, hold rallies? Is that something that you're able to do going to the elections? I think you have some sort of local elections coming up soon.
Just today, we were supposed to have an internal party meeting in one of the suburbs of Dar es Salaam, and the police invaded our meeting and disrupted it. And later we went to the party headquarters, and police invaded the party headquarters and asked us to stop doing a constitutional meeting of the party. So, and with the new Political Parties Act that was enacted in February this year, it is very clear that political activities have been criminalized in this country. And we have decided to take action. We have decided to go to court in order to ask the court to quash this law. But currently we are operating in an environment where some of the genuine political activities are being criminalized by law.